Hi Sagittarius! There's a party going on and there's some wind, but there's still a lot of sun. It's my last day. I'm leaving in a few hours, but I thought Sagittarius really needs some sunshine and some water and maybe a party going on in the background. So let's find your cards out here and then I can do the rest of the reading once we know what cards come up inside where the wind isn't blowing so much, or at the airport. Let's just be very mutable, but just a little sun, a little of that turquoise gorgeous water that I won't be able to share with you until next year, inshallah, in February again. But I share this with you because I feel like you need it. And why do I think you need it? Just like those people need that guy to hype them, I feel like you guys need like a hype man right now, because the other times where you waited, nothing happened. And now you're going to have to wait. Something will happen, but there are other things going on that make the waiting too difficult. If you were dealing with a water sign in any capacity, especially a Pisces, that Chiron influence, they may have just been there to flush out your wounds, and they may have left. You may feel like your wounds are too flushed out to bear. You may feel like you are more salt water than blood at this point. That touched a nerve. 4 of Cups, so that sadness of someone or something that is no longer. Temperance, taking 2 of those cups and balancing them out, so finding the balance between the heart and mind. Initial guidance. Knight of Cups, that water sign we were just talking about that flushed out your wounds and has perhaps left already. The Hermit card, the Virgo card, the healer, the one who brings you insight that is like medicine, and also a road sign, also showing you where you need to go next, in this case, inward. And perhaps that is the most constructive way to wait. And then Queen of Pentacles, talking directly to your financial situation and how waiting and going into hermit mode is perhaps the best way to attain this sort of economic success, which is, it just is a matter-of-fact thing. It just becomes factual and is no longer something to be debated or strived for or, accomplished. It's already done. So, initially 5 cards falling out. Bottom of the deck, the 5 of Cups. Let's see what else comes out before we take them inside and take a closer look at them. That's the thing about being near the water. You connect, and when you connect, when the right mix of words comes out, the connection is like, and it's that, Knight of Cups. Chiron is moving. If you were dealing with that watery Piscean energy where Chiron has been camped out for so long, 5-6 years now, it may have come up on you all at once. You may have resisted the cleansing of these wounds the whole time. Wow, really hitting a nerve with you guys, huh? The Fool. So what we're talking about right now is the direct road to your next step. Funny thing about Sagittarians, bottom of the deck is, let's just do a little of what will come up in the extended while we're out here, and then we'll take the cards inside. Bottom of the deck is the Sun, 2 of Swords, 8 of Swords, 9 of Wands. Fantastic. Fantastic. Little patience is required. Now, what I was going to say is, here's the funny thing about success and Sagittarians. You coming up as the Fool after this period of having your wounds cleansed is major. I'll give you an example. sometimes when we don't know what we're sick with, if we're sick with something, the initial finding out may really hurt. But beyond that initial understanding and knowing is comfort and peace, because then we can deal with it how we want, or we can choose to accept that, or we can reject it. But that unknown quality is gone. But that initial having to force it and force the situation and face the situation and say, this is what it might be, it can be, for a moment, too painful to bear. But beyond that moment is where the full energy lies. Beyond that moment is where you attain that which I think is funny about Sagittarians, getting back to the point, which is that success can be strived for, it can be sought, it can be pined for, and it can be ultimately achieved. But it is never the final spot for a Sagittarian. A Sagittarian doesn't want to be successful. A Sagittarian doesn't just want to be rich. It's not about that. You guys are interested in paradigm shifts. You guys are interested in evolutions and wealth that has nothing to do with materials, that has nothing to do with ownership, that have nothing to do with finances even, or this particular currency that in this day and age we call money. Sagittarians are the ones that think beyond the structures that are already created. And one of the ways that you do that is also in the way that you define success. So as soon as success becomes obvious or apparent to you, and you know it's coming up on you, then all of a sudden there is this new mindset that starts to soak in, which is, okay, well, we've almost achieved this is great, now what's next? So for a lot of you, you may have partners who have found this really difficult, and the reason they find it difficult is simply because they can't keep up. If you've had partners as a Sagittarian who achieved something and then kind of sat on their laurels, you know, that to you is just like, what is that? Like, why are you doing that? That's so boring. You know, like, you need someone who constantly wants to succeed and evolve and accomplish, but not out of some need to make money or something, you know, kind of almost banal like that, but because they really like what they're doing, or they really believe in what they're doing, or they are just enthusiastic in general about everything, you know, so they're just always go, go, go. Whatever it is, you need that constant movement forward and upward. And so when those material boxes start to get checked, there is a tendency to not even perhaps fully enjoy that success before you then move to shift the paradigm again to a different sort of success, you know. And that's great, and it keeps you moving forward, and it keeps you, you know, at the top of the game, ahead of the game, changing the game, however you want to say it. But I wonder where the moments of peace then are, where you can kind of kick back for a second and look at what you've accomplished here and there and say, you know, I did really well. I don't know, you know, is a horse any less a horse if it doesn't just gallop all the time? You know, I'm just wondering. And as a very fast-paced, you know, kinetic sign myself, I get it, you know. Like, how many places have I been in the past, like, 4 months? Like, I get it. I get moving around. I get being, you know. But I just wonder if there isn't a need for mental breaks before you transition between, okay, I checked this box, and now I want to create this entirely new list with entirely new boxes and get to checking those. I wonder in that interim, when you're in the dark hallway in between, I wonder if there is a knowledge in that space that you miss when you move so quick. You know, because there is something. I feel it in Sagittarian men. There can be a tendency to be a bit superficial. Very smart, very connected, easy to talk to, charming. But there is something that is almost purposefully superficial. And I wonder if it isn't this ability to just hop, skip, and jump over the dark when one door closes and another door opens, the dark hallway in between, I wonder if the ability to just kind of hop right over that and gallop right over that, the way a horse jumps a fence, perhaps keeps one from attaining that depth which is necessary, to really captivate. Now, why don't I say that about Sagittarian women? I think Sagittarian women are different in that way. I think they actually can get lost in the dark hallway, ironically. Whereas the Sagittarian male can kind of jump right over it into the next open door. Sagittarian women can go into the dark hallway and on faith and enthusiasm and, just belief in self, can wait patiently in the dark hallway. But it seems that whenever they're in there, someone seems to appear that, quite needs their help. And so then even when the next door opens and they know that it's time to go, they have a very hard time leaving that person alone in the dark. And can become great enablers in that sense. Because then, then it becomes, the Sagittarian ride or die thing. If you're going to stay in the dark, then I'll stay with you because I'm not going to leave you alone. Perhaps not realizing that their dark tunnel is much, much different than yours, and that you will never be able to help them by staying in there with them. You may be able to help them by walking through your own open door and leaving them in there, hoping they find their way out. But, like I said, once you're attached, once your feelings are involved, staying in the dark hallway can become an option. Too readily an option, if you ask me. So, that's how it looks so far. Let's take it inside and we'll take a closer look at these and let's see what the outcome looks like. But I'm glad that we got to do the initial reading out here and really get into the vibe of it, because you do need some sun, you do need some water, you do need to just have a bit of a blue sky for a minute. You're clearly heading for very, very good things. But the interims are handled very differently by many people, but they are difficult nonetheless and can be very painful. And so when you have great material success coming in and yet things are very painful, it is that Saya cheap thrills moment. Is she a Sagittarian? She might be. I saw a video of her where she was singing Cheap Thrills in Eastern Europe somewhere, and she busted into tears in the middle of it. And I just thought, yeah. So you may be approaching this juxtaposition in March where you're like, things seem to be going so well work-wise, and if I just keep my cool, I know even more stuff is coming in. I just need to sit it out and wait it out for a minute. And then on the other side, you may feel that your wounds are being so flushed out and you're being so, just like you're being ripped apart emotionally. Or that you are ripping someone apart emotionally. Like I said, depends on how you deal with that dark hallway. So now that we find ourselves in the dark hallway, hopefully this brings you a little light and a little hope and a little blue and a little beauty. Because we know the sun's coming back out. You may perhaps be in the dark about that right now. You may be stuck, much stuck. Danish to English conversion is terrible. Very stuck in your mind at the moment. But it will not last. There are opportunities here yet to be revealed. Work-wise, things are going to be fantastic. However, we'll talk more about the dark hallway, take the cards inside, and also I'm going to do the extended right after. So when you finish this video, on the side here, the box will show up and you can click on that and get the extended. If you cannot access it or if you get an error message, I have no idea why. Every country that you can rent for or purchase for, it is available for. So in that case, please visit my website. I'm not sure what else to tell you. All right. There are events coming up in New York in April, in San Francisco in March. you can pre-order the ebook version of my book on the website as well. That comes out in May or June, depending. And yeah, that's about it. Okay, let's take the cards inside and take a better look at them. Away from the wind and the party and all this. Hi Sagittarius, I have your extended cards here, but I wanted you to get a look at the cards that we picked in Jamaica, but you can take a closer look at them now and see what I was saying about going through that period of dark hallway to coming out into the light and kind of walking off of that cliff. The cards that we were going to look at in the extended are here, and I just want to look at them first, and then we can clarify more in the extended and do a new shuffle. So you can see here how, although it may seem like once again the waiting has come, it may seem once again as if this Chiron energy has you and it's not going to let you go. Actually, this time it is going to let you go. You're going to be fine. The 8 of Swords transmuting to the 9 of Wands is a pretty big deal. The Fool and then the Sun. The momentum here is what I like. You go through the pain of having your emotions reevaluated. Mercury is going to do a number on you. I can see that. You will have to once again recalibrate, perhaps take some arrows out of the quiver. The Knight of Cups energy has, either through love or through pain, led you to the Hermit energy. Once we get to the Hermit place in our lives, whether we're on an upswing or a downswing, it's because we need to stop and reflect on something, and we need to do it with quite a lot of purpose and detail. The Queen of Pentacles reiterates that earth energy, so now bringing us into a more practical, let's say, way of using that earthly energy. Because the Virgo is earth, but it's so in its mind about that practical earthiness that perhaps we need to balance that out with some real, tangible practicality, if you will. Money, the making of money, fortune. The Fool and the Sun here are a direct reflection on these two cards. It is with insight and it is with confidence and hard work that one can see finally this, fruition of one's dreams and things coming to bear. So forever we've been talking about wait, right? We've been talking about it forever. I can't believe that sound. I didn't realize that sound was this thing. Hold on. I apologize. Everything that could have gone wrong with you guys' reading has gone wrong, so I'm not even going to start it again. I'm sorry about that noise that was going. You have been cleansed of the thing, and now that the wound is healing, there is great that will be given to you for your trouble, but that icky kind of mucky part where the wound has been cleaned, but it hasn't healed yet, so there's this process still that has to happen. It's not pretty, but it's so beneficial and it's so healing and it's all heading the right way. Now, what I see getting in your way, clearly, just to be really blunt with you, is the Two of Swords. The Two of Swords really does lead to the Eight of Swords, and the melancholy has really been getting on top of you. And I feel like it's been so much, actually, with the Eight of Swords energy that your reading was, not able to get to you because of it. I think the reading not uploading is this energy. When you guys get upset, you isolate. And you isolate so hard that it's just, you give off this vibe of I don't even want you to try to help me. I don't want you to talk to me. I just want to be by myself. And when that energy is raging with you guys, it's really hard for help to get to you. You can very effectively close yourself off from people. Some people love closing themselves off from people, but they don't know how to do it. You guys are quite good at it. And I feel like you have slipped into, if some of you have allowed and indulged the Two of Swords energy, then I can see how you could have slipped into the Eight of Swords and just not be able to see how the time in the dark hallway is ending and you are about to walk through another very brightly lit door. Lit by what? Lit by opportunity, by prosperity, by I don't know, by the light of all the things that you really want and that you have the bravery to attain and that you have the peace of mind and balance to be able to retain. This is all part and parcel of having great stuff. You have to be emotionally stable enough to keep it. You have to be innovative and brave enough to create it. You have to be lucky enough to have it come your way and be able to create something with it. So when all these magics, if you will, are coming together, then it really does behoove you to work yourself out of the Two of Swords, Eight of Swords energy. It's just not worth it. And I think that it's really easy right now for you guys to get into this space because there's a general sensitivity going on, which is uncharacteristic. Like, you guys aren't usually this sensitive, but for some reason or other, I think it has a lot to do with this water sign. You are, you're hurt. You're confused. You don't understand why that, it's uncharacteristic, but you're hurt and you're confused. And that person really did, they did a number on you. And I think you may also be feeling like, this has happened too many times. Like, why does this same kind of pattern keep happening to me? And why does it keep happening to me with the same sort of, watery figure? Now, this could also very easily be applied to the Virgo or to someone in your life who's just exhibiting a much higher level of adventurousness than you are. But I have a very strong feeling that it's the water sign. So, having said that, I think the things I'd like to explore more in the extended would be the Hermit and the Sun, and then obviously trying to figure a way out of this. But for now, let's pull some outcome cards, and hopefully the second part of this reading will actually upload. I'm glad that you got the first part of your reading in Jamaica and that these cards were pulled in Jamaica. That's dope. So even though it's a couple of, it's actually about a week and a half since then, but you still got your blue water. Queen of Wands in reverse. Yeah, so Queen of Wands, very powerful. It's in reverse so you can see yourself and understand what it is that you are forgetting. It's in reverse because there is really nothing wrong. And so although you may feel like you're upside down, you're still a queen. And that's very important to remember when you have this mix of cards. A lot of this has to do with self-perception. And right now you must fix this. You must fix this. You got to turn back around. Maybe you need to have an opposite day like George and Seinfeld and just do everything the opposite. But you need to turn this around. You're getting way too lost in your own head. And you need to turn it around because it's bordering on falsity. It's just not true. I understand going through a hard thing, and I understand being in a tough spot, and I understand being sad, and I understand being left, I understand being confused, but that is no reason to start questioning your basic worth. And if that's what's going on right now, you need to turn yourself around. And here is the perfect reminder. In Hindi or in Urdu, they say, apne aap ko pehchano. Recognize yourself. Here you are. Very important. Very, very important. It's really easy when you're in the dark and waiting for the next thing or the next lover or the next job opportunity or the next, peak of happiness. It's really, really easy to beat yourself up. And that's exactly, I feel like, what's going on here. And you've had some characters in your life who've definitely helped you do that. But now it is up to you to turn yourself back around and put yourself right back up, right side up. It's on you. None of these people can do it for you, even if they wanted to, which they don't. But even if they wanted to, they couldn't. Only you can work yourself out of that space. And as soon as you do work yourself out of that space, what did I say? All the good things. As soon as you're not like this, it will be like this. And we want that. All right, Sagittarius? God, I hope this uploads. I love you guys. I'll leave all the links for the events in San Francisco. There's an entire day of tarot. It's a tarot workshop. It'll be like 6 hours, I think, in New York on April 8th, I think. Yeah, April 8th. So I'll leave the link for that below as well. The extended videos are now available through my website. And the website, when you click on extended readings, it will take you to a site where you can stream instantly. You can buy with any sort of payment option. Every country is allowed. You don't have to wait for a link, and it really doesn't have anything to do with waiting for anything. You just click it and you can watch it. So it's awesome. And that's through my website, and you can find that info below, and I'll also leave my Instagram and my Snap and all that. All right, Sag, I'm going to do the extended right now, so look for that on the site in about an hour. All right, love you. See you in April.